I have decided this year that in the spirit of sort of mindful gift giving, I'm also going to have some mindful gift wrapping, and so I'm making reusable gift bags. And this is such a simple, quick method of making bags, I thought I would share it with you. So to make a bag like this, which is approximately, I don't know, 7-8 inches that way, and just a little bit bigger this way. You can make them any size you like, but I'm going to show you this, roughly this size. Once you know the method, it'll be very obvious how to make them different sizes. So to make a bag like this, you will need two pieces of fabric, one the outer, so for this one I'm going to use this green fabric with the gold snowflakes, and then a piece that will be your lining, and I'm going to use the red as my lining. And these both measure, good measurements would be about 20 centimetres this way, 8 inches by about 40 centimetres or 16 inches this way. I think mine might be a little bit bigger because I just cut up 2 fat quarters. So mine might be about 25 this way and about 50 this way, but that's fine. And then as well as that, you want 2 pieces of fabric in your lining fabric. Initially cut them the same width. It's quite easy to cut the same strips, the same width. And these are about 6 centimetres, nearly 3 inches deep. So you've got 2 pieces like that. And then just cut a centimetre off the edge. You don't want it to be quite as wide as your fabric. Yeah, you can cut as much or as little as you like. And the reason for that is, if you look at these bags, they've got like a little gap here, which is quite nice. So put your main fabric and your lining fabric aside for the moment, and what you can do is prepare these casings for the cord, and you're going to turn under about 1/2 inch or a centimetre on each end, and then fold them in half like this, wrong sides together. Fiddly to do here, but I'm sure you get the idea. And then press them. So I'm going away to my iron to do that. So here I've got these 2 little casings, the ends tucked in and then pressed in half. You'll realise I've got the selvage there, but that's going to be tucked away out of sight, so we don't need to worry about that. And then you're going to take the fabric for the outer of the bag, and then right sides together, so right side facing up, you're going to pin one of these casing sections at each end, like that, and literally just pin in place. So somewhere I have a pin, so I'm just going to do that like that, and then repeat it at the other end. I should say at this stage, because this is my main fabric for my bag, the green, let's turn that around, that you can see it hasn't actually got a directional pattern. But should I have had something like this, where I've got these little snowmen, I couldn't use a single piece of fabric, because if you imagine it sort of extending beyond like this, then one side would be upside down, if that makes sense. So you have to cut your outer fabric in half, need to make it a little bit bigger for the seam, and then turn one piece around and seam them together, and that way you've got your directional print the right way up on both sides of the bag. But I digress. And so I'm just going to match that up on the other side. So these are the raw edges together, the folded edge tucked inwards. And once you've positioned that in place, you then get your lining piece, and again right sides together, position that over there, matching up the raw edges, and just slip the pin out, and now make it go through all the layers. Turn it around and we'll repeat that on the other end. So I've got all my raw edges together along here. And now at this stage, I'm going to go to my sewing machine and I'm going to run a seam along here and then a seam down here. So here I am, I've now done a seam at each end, and what I'm going to do is turn it round to the right way. And you'll see where both of these sort of casings are now trapped within the two fabrics. And give it a good press, and once I've done that, I'm going to open it all out, turn it the wrong way around again, and this time I'm just going to, once it's all pressed, press these seams open, match up these seams exactly, so make sure that everything's accurately matched so that this bit here lines up with this bit here. Pin that in place, and again on the other side, making sure everything is neatly matched. Another pin, and this time what you're going to do is on one side sew all the way down, if I get a camera shot, all the way down one edge, and on the other side make sure you sew all the way down the outer, and then on the lining just leave a little gap, and that's where you're going to turn it through. So I'm off to my sewing machine to do that now. So I've now finished doing these seams. I've run a seam all the way down this side, and on this side here I've just left a little gap through which I'm now going to turn everything the right way. Before I do that, I'm just going to clip into these corners, so all of them like that, and that'll just make them easier to turn. So I'm just going to do all of them. So that you get a nice sharp corner. Let's turn that through. Go. Just make sure all of those corners are pushed right through nice and sharply. Just one last thing to do, and that is to sew up the gap. You can either do that by hand, but to be honest, as this is in the lining, I just run a little seam along there on the machine. So I don't know whether you can actually see that there, but I've just sort of stitched along that so that the lining's touched up. I'm just going to cut those ends off so that it's not a mess. And then you tuck that to the inside. And then all that's left to do is to thread a ribbon or a cord through the casing. I quite like cord, but ribbon works as well. So I've got two lengths of cord. These are about 24 inches, 60 centimetres long. And you thread one going through that way around and out and knot it, and the other one the other way around, and then you can pull up your drawstring bag. So here we have it, a beautiful lined, fully lined, reusable gift bag. Not just for Christmas, but for any time of year. You can make them in any sorts of fabrics, you can recycle fabrics, but they make a lovely gift in themselves, because if the recipient doesn't want to then use them for re-gifting, they could be used as little wash bags, makeup bags, all sorts of things. So have a bit of fun with that. They don't take very long and they make a lovely gift in themselves.